Joining us now for World Brief and the review of some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Adefemi Akinsanya. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing?
Been good.
Morning, Femi.
How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good, thank you. Thank you for asking me. Let us take you around the world. We'll start in the United Kingdom, where the Princess of Wales has spoken of her relief after completing her course of chemotherapy in a highly personal video released by Kensington Palace. Catherine did reveal that back in March she was ongoing cancer treatment and has been out of sight from much of the year in terms of public-facing engagements. She will be carrying out, according to this video, a few more engagements this year when she feels well enough, which could include remembrance events in November and, of course, the annual Christmas Carol event. But I can imagine that there are many people who are happy to hear that she has finished her chemotherapy, is back in the public eye, and has released what was a really beautiful, highly produced 3-minute video that featured her husband, her children. You got to hear all of their voices, and she spoke of her relief. And I can imagine that there are many people who are very, very happy to hear that she's come to the end of her cancer treatment, and continue to wish her very, very great health as she continues on with her public-facing duties and her life. Moving on to the United States now, and Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will need to navigate the pitfall-filled debates of their political lives tonight, as each tries to persuade millions of voters and viewers that they are the best ones suited to be president. Harris, whose wave of momentum has brought Democrats back to a neck-and-neck presidential race, will have to prosecute the case against Trump while also laying out how her agenda could help the country, particularly this middle-class and working-class situation in the country. Trump, meanwhile, has the task of casting his record on the economy and immigration as superior to Harris's, while avoiding distracting personal attacks on Harris herself. We have spoken so much about policy in the lead-up to tonight's debate, but I would like to ask you all, the three of you there, whether or not you think a debate, not so much an election, but a debate can be won or lost on policy alone. I don't know if that is going to be the determining factor in this one tonight, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Before we come to you for your comments, let's stay on foreign policy. Speaking of policy, we'll take a look at foreign policy and look at the Middle East, because I'll definitely be listening out to that for that debate tonight. But what we're seeing is that at least 40 people have been killed in southern Gaza and dozens more have been injured in Israeli strikes on a designated humanitarian zone. This is according to the Civil Defense Authority, which Hamas runs. Now, the Israeli military says that its aircraft attacked an operation center in Khan Yunis belonging to Hamas fighters, which is why it targeted it, and that it has taken steps to mitigate the risk of harming civilians, which unfortunately has happened yet again. Local residents say 3 strikes targeted tents, which were housing displaced people in the humanitarian zone of Al-Mawasi, which is west of the city of Khan Yunis, and it caused huge craters as deep as 7 meters. And lastly, Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan has denounced the brutal killing of a senior member of the main opposition party, Chadema, who was kidnapped, beaten, and doused with acid. On Friday, Mohammed Ali Kibao, 69 years old, was forced off a bus by suspected security agents while he was traveling from the country's biggest city, Dar es Salaam, to his own hometown of Tanga. The post-mortem found that Mr. Kibao had been severely beaten and had acid poured on his face. Now, his killing has sparked widespread condemnation across Tanzania, with many people asking the government to take action over reports of several other people being abducted and killed for political reasons.
So a couple of things. Number one for me will be the debate. Obviously, Kamala Harris has a history of being a prosecutor, but definitely is a prosecutor that meets a very slicky liar in Donald Trump. But also, she has not done a lot of work as regards espousing those ideas as regards her policies. In fact, she has not taken a lot of interviews, which has come back to bite her. Hence, the Senate College poll that was saying that most people say they practically do not know her. And people will never know you on the campaign trail if you're not talking about your policies and where your head is. So I think even after this debate, then she needs to go out and do a lot more interview, where she can show some level of vulnerability and also espouse her ideas as regards her policies. One thing is certain, there's going to be a lot of fireworks tonight. But she too...
Do you think even with the muted microphones,
it's
do you think
going
so?
to be a lot of fireworks, because one thing Trump will do is he will try to get under her skin. Two things he would like to... The second thing he would like to is try to present her as unpresidential. He will want her to lose her cool. And that's why the Democratic Party, I think I mentioned MSNBC all through the night, they were saying that the advice for her is to keep her cool, even if she's going to take a jab at Trump, do it in a very presidential style.
Sure.
Do not allow him to get under your skin, because that's what he wants. He will not allow clarity to come out. And we've seen him do that many times, even with people that were close to him. We all remember how close the Clintons and Trump used to be back in the past. When he debated Hillary, exactly what he tried to do. So let's see how it pans out. She's been doing a lot of mock debates with her sparring partners.
She has, yes.
He also has been doing a lot of mock debates with his sparring partners.
All right, so you asked the question earlier, to what extent do policies, I think side by side that would be debate and policies. In truth, what has been observed is that a number of people who are going to be watching the debate tonight already have their minds decided. They already have which position they'd be taking. So what they'll be looking to do is for the percentage of undecided who could potentially tip the votes in either one's favor, or to strengthen their base. Recall that before President Joe Biden stepped down from the race, he had been trailing Trump by about 3.2, up onto 3.2 points. And now that Kamala Harris has come into the race, she's leading only by a small margin, and over the weekend the margin even became smaller. So let's see to what extent, if it would, the much needed undecided votes, it would tip them in each other's favor, or perhaps just people seeing how strong their candidate is. So a few things that'll be on the conversation table today has been speculated, some of which have already been talked about. The economy, big, major. A lot of people will be waiting to listen to Kamala Harris articulate her policies. To be honest and to be fair to her, Trump hasn't exactly articulated as well, but at least he's been more upfront, he's had more interviews and had more opportunities to defend his candidature. So it should be something to look forward to watching this evening. I was going to talk about James Earl Jones, who died at the age of 90, the legend at the age of 93, paying tribute to him this morning. The voice of Darth Vader, Star Wars, and also, of course, legendary for Lion King and the voice of CNN.
And coming to America. This is my favorite
The
two of his
Battle of
roles.
Philadelphia.
Yes.
Tonight will be Kamala Harris' first major no-holds-barred, in everybody's face interview. She's not been doing a lot of interviews since Biden exited from the race. And she's meeting one of the most implacable political foes in the world, Donald Trump. In terms of balance, Donald Trump has been in about 3 debates against Hillary Clinton in 2016.
Correct.
And he was also there again in 2020. And on July 27, he faced Biden.
Yes.
So he's more experienced when it comes to political debates. The last time Kamala Harris had a debate of this nature was against Mike Pence, vice presidential candidate, in 2020. So there's a certain imbalance. So Kamala Harris is going to face a very strong major test. Yesterday, we were discussing the New York Times Siena College poll, which says that 28% of the respondents are saying that they want to know more about Kamala Harris. 9% are saying, well, they would like to know a little bit more about Donald Trump. So they know Trump. Kamala Harris, they are not sure. So Kamala Harris has an opportunity to use this platform that will be provided, 2 a.m. Nigerian time, this evening, American time, to sell herself to the American state. She's been able to garner enthusiasm, energize the Democratic base, raise a lot of interest and all of that. But this is a big opportunity for Kamala Harris. If she uses it well, that will be a very important outcome of the debate. However, there are things that she has to watch out for. One, she has to seek a balance between selling herself and responding to Donald Trump. 2, she has to watch out for rabbit holes. Trump will throw a lot of rabbit holes at her. She should not jump into those rabbit holes. 3, he will probably question her race and intelligence, political intelligence, knowing that he has more political experience than her. Right. She should not fall for that bait. There will be issues about immigration. there will be issues about the economy,
Yes.
Bidenomics. However, the rules are very clear. The rules say that they cannot come with notes.
Nope.
The rules say that the mics will be off, when they are not speaking. And then, of course, this will be live television.
Sure.
As for the princess, the wife of the Princess of Wales,
yes.
well, we are excited that she says, out of darkness can come light.
Absolutely.
And, we're excited that light should shine brighter. She announced that she was diagnosed with cancer in January.
March, I think.
Or was it March? No, in January, she has abdominal surgery.
Yes.
She was diagnosed of cancer in February. And since then, she's been going through chemotherapy. Now she says she's completed her course of treatment, and she looks forward to resuming official duties. The video was very exciting. The photograph taken at their resort in Norfolk,
Yes, exactly.
shows love, the love of family, because
Indeed.
she talked about love and being loved and the importance of a family.
Yes.
I think there are lessons that persons can take from our own example. The example of Princess Kate, about love, family, and a sense of duty and responsibility that she projects.
Agreed. Thank you very much. And people, I'd imagine people also minding their business. She kind of alluded to the fact that despite what has happened before, she's focused on the future. So we hope that she has a very, very full recovery and doesn't have to experience something like this again. Let's move on now to newspaper headlines across the globe. We'll begin here in Nigeria with This Day. This Day leads with a story that has dominated the front cover of many Nigerian dailies this morning. President of Nigeria's Labour Congress, Comrade Joe Ajaro's arrest early on Monday and then subsequent release on bail last night, Monday night. His offence, according to This Day's article and to many other papers, is yet to be disclosed. And as a result, Amnesty International, as well as other civil organisation groups, have condemned the arrest. The United Action Front of Civil Society says President Tinubu was setting a record of impunity. The New Telegraph also leads with the NLC president's arrest. Their headline, quoting a security source, says that Ajaro was watchlisted, and then arrested on request. He's been released, as we said, but the New Telegraph reports that members of his party, his organisation, other CSOs and Nigerians at large are all on red alert as they continue to demand a reversal on this petrol hike, insisting that they've been betrayed by the president, whom has allowed fuel prices to increase despite promises that such a thing would not happen, which is why Labour accepted the 70,000 naira minimum wage. Moving on to The Guardian, and The Guardian alludes to a looming strike in relation to this arrest and harassment of others under the NLC, the harassment they've been facing. But also staying with the politics in the land, The Guardian is also reporting that the Labour Party has cancelled the automatic tickets previously reserved for its 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi, as well as that of Abia State Governor Alex Otti. The party held its National Executive Council meeting in Abuja on Monday, and that was one of the major lines coming out of it. Moving on to The Vanguard, and The Vanguard features a story on President Bola Tinubu and how he's directed the exclusion of third-party research grant funds to federal universities and research institutions from the Treasury single account. The president's directive was conveyed by the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, to the coordinating Minister of Finance and National Economy, Wale Edun, mandating this exemption. Now, in a letter from the National Universities Commission to Vice-Chancellors, dated the 6th of September, the directive also grants universities and research institutions the autonomy to operate their endowment fund accounts in commercial banks. Moving on to The Punch, and The Punch's picture story illustrates the seizure of illegal firearms. 10 suspects have been arraigned for terrorism over their alleged collection connection with 4 billion naira's worth of illegal firearms and ammunition imported into the country back in June. Those weapons and ammunition were intercepted by the Nigerian Customs Service in Port Harcourt back in June, and it was found in a 40-foot container loaded with 844 rifles and 112,500 live rounds of ammunition at the Onne port in Port Harcourt. The arms and ammunition were said to have been skillfully concealed within items such as doors, furniture, plumbing fittings, and leather bags. And finally, the Daily Independent is looking at a plan by the Attorney General of the Federation, who is also Minister of Justice, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, to deny state pardons to any persons found guilty of corruption. Let's look at some African papers now. And the front page of the Daily Nation pictures parents in pain as they await DNA results to determine if their children are among the dead following a fire at Endarasha Hillside Academy. The death toll there has risen to 21 as 3 more pupils have been confirmed dead. The Daily Monitor is looking at a very interesting story out of Uganda, and it's reporting on the mystery of human skulls in shrines across the country. 17 skulls were reportedly found at a shrine in Mpingi, which is a town in the center of the country. And this story does remind me of news that came out of Uganda last month, where a Ugandan man allegedly was found with 24 human skulls, and he was accused to have been using them for human sacrifices, and he was facing life in prison there. So some news coming out of different regions of Africa. And then lastly, looking at the Daily Mail, the cover of the Daily Mail, along with a host of other British newspapers, have all featured the Princess of Wales and her family following the announcement of the end of her chemotherapy treatment. But at the bottom of the Mail, we can see that 1,700 prisoners will be released from prison early today to relieve prison overcrowding and also make space for new offenders. Today is also the date for that important vote in the Commons for Keir Starmer. So lots there.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Adefemi. We're out of time, but it's important to know that the next first guest for today will be discussing the Comrade Joe Ajaero detention by DSS. Now he's been released, so we'll have time to properly dig into that. We'll see you again tomorrow. Always. Thank you.